Welcome to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Awesome brand new show this week. Got tons of great stuff we'll talk about all over the place. Obviously, we'll give you the brand new market update. Look at the newest numbers about what's going on here locally. Also, some numbers nationally we'll talk about, kind of like what to look for, what's going on. Also, big news in interest rates. We had a nice drop early this week, back up just a little bit this week. We'll talk about what's happening. But we had a lot of rates back in the fives. And so I kind of put the fuel back on the fire, so to speak, from the market standpoint. We'll look and see what happened. New pending deals up significantly from just a couple weeks ago. We'll kind of talk about, and that's happening all over the country. Some of my friends in different mastermind groups are seeing the same thing we're seeing, and our team's been absolutely crushing it. We're going to blow our goal away this month for sure. And just one thing I was going to kind of talk about is that typical spring market, quote, spring market, is here early this year, right? It's being driven by interest rates dropping back down. So much pent up demand by very high rates fourth quarter. And combine that with holidays, you're seeing so many buyers jump in right now, coming earlier than usual. We'll talk about that. Also, amazing programs for two types of people, both self-employed people out there who are 1099 contractors. They've had a lot of difficulty getting loans in the past. We have an amazing program been using for both our sellers and buyers. Obviously, Myrtle Beach, the Grand Strand is an area that's a lot of 1099 type employees, self-employed people, business owners, things like that. I'll talk about some details with that. Also, some investor loans we have, which are really powerful. Been using. There's no limit on the amount of properties you have, no income verification or employment verification, basically just based on cash flow. And they're able to get 80% loan to value on that. You can have, there's no limit on the number of properties you can have in that loan. So it's very powerful for our investor clients and also for our sellers who are selling to investors, because now we have the tools and access to be able to help get that. So we'll talk about that in today's show to kind of give you some insight in what that program looks like and to help you get access to that as well. Some amazing success stories. Our team's been absolutely crushing it, absolutely blown our goal out the water this month, almost doubling it already. I think we're already at 40 houses sold this month, and we're not even close to the end of the month. So very excited about that. And one thing we're talking about too, we're looking to grow to our team. We've had a massive year last year adding people to our team. We have a scholarship opportunity we're offering to anybody looking into real estate. We'll pay for your real estate school for you. We'll put you through the entire course. We have our own real estate school. And not only that, we'll guide you and mentor you, part of our program that's turnkey, to allow you to help serve clients and have a very successful career. We'll talk about that as well.
All right, a lot of stuff to get to. If you just tuned in for the very first time and you're not sure who you're listening to or what you're listening to, it's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show, hosted by, of course, Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan has been called the Real Estate Whiz Kid. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, Realtor magazine, other national publications. You may be seeing him on TV with NBC and also with Fox and Friends, the morning show. You heard the personal endorsements here by Sean Hannity. Also Barbara Corcoran, Gary LeVox. Put them all together, it's just totally unprecedented. Now, that's one thing. But the other thing is that Blake has trademark systems for both home sellers and home buyers. They are trademarked, so we can't give you all the details, but more than happy every week to tell you the most important part of that system.
Yes, and that's a promise made to myself 13 years ago on the show. Just said, look, I got to make sure I talk about this every week because it hands down by far the most frequent issue and problem I see all the time with anybody out there. It doesn't matter how affluent they are, how many real estate properties they bought or sold. I see the same problem. The mistake they make is thinking that all real estate agents are the same, and it could not be any further from the truth. I just want to reiterate that every week because I see so many horror stories, one after another, just about every single day being in the business, where they think that agents are the same, and it could not be further from the truth. Just like anybody's experienced any type of service business, doesn't matter if you're your yard person, your landscaper, right? Your doctor, your lawyer. There's different levels of service based on the type of people that you deal with and who you deal with, right? And so experience matters, aggressiveness matters. So like if I'm charged with a crime I didn't commit, I don't just want a part-time attorney who's tried a few cases, who my friend recommended me, who just got their law license. I want the absolute best, most aggressive, most experienced attorney to represent me in that case. To get me the best outcome. And you should demand that same level of excellence for your largest assets, not just throw it up there hoping to save a couple bucks, right? When I ask my attorney, I don't really care if they're the cheapest. I want the absolute best. And obviously I find value in what we have there. And so you should seek that same level of expertise and really a minimum standard for your largest assets, because here's what you find. What most people don't realize is the single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller comes down to one thing only. And that thing is the agent that you choose, period. And it comes down to, how does the agent actually execute from A to Z when you're selling your property? What most people don't realize is there's 118 different variables from A to Z when you're selling a property. If each one's handled correctly, guess what it does? It puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. Anything's handled incorrectly. They can drop the ball at any point. It can be anything. Does your agent answer the telephone when the buyer calls the for sale sign? I've seen lately some agents don't even put the for sale sign in their front yard, right? Does your agent advertise online? If they do, how long does it take them to respond to a web lead? What's their ability to respond to a web lead? Can they even type an email? And so there's all these things come down to price strategy, photo quality, photo order, and all these psychological things in terms of actually selling that make or break the home sale. And what you find is it's impossible for one single agent to effectively manage all 118 different variables on one listing. Not to mention the other 5 they're trying to get because they're trying to stay in the business. So they just get your listing. They do the 3 Ps. They promise you will get the listing. Number 2, they put it into MLS. And 3, they pray someone else brings a buyer. Meanwhile, they're down the street hunting down the next listing because they're trying to survive in the business. The average agent in our marketplace sold 3.7 homes last year. That's not 1.25 is not very good. And that's not a whole lot of expertise or money that they can put up on your behalf to help your property get sold. And so I have you consider that the agent that you choose matters. And so what I did is said, look, there's got to be a better way. The average agent sells 3.7 homes per year. That's not a very high quality of service to people for their largest assets. And so we sought out and designed a system and said, how can I create something that's predictable and repeatable for our clients? And we sought out, I designed it. It's called the Guaranteed Sold System, the only proven system that sells twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. And what we did there is we identify the dominoes. What are the dominoes that have to happen and line up in the right way, in the right order, and knock them down in the right order to get the result we want in the back end, where most agents just winging it, right? Hoping that they throw it against the wall and see what sticks. And so we said, how can we have the proven repeatable process that we line up all the dominoes? And that took identifying, okay, what has to happen from A to Z at point 1, at point 2, at point 3. We built it out. And they created leverage at maximum point with 2 things, people and technology. And so we have a team, 35 people that are able to be a specialist in what they do, not some generalist that's out there trying to master everything and juggle all the balls at the same time, meaning they're not effective at actually delivering the results to you. And so now we have inside sales, outside sales, we have buyer specialists, seller specialists, our in-house photographer, all these people that we can execute, actually control the variables so that we can control the experience for our client and give them one most important thing at the end. That thing that we give them is a competitive advantage in the marketplace. And so the Guaranteed Sold System, right, sells the houses faster and for more money because we manage those through technology, through people, and it's designed to do one thing, like I mentioned, is give a massive competitive advantage. And so if you want to learn more about that, reach out, we'll show it to you. It absolutely blows everyone's mind that we've shown it to. Even a lot of realtors who come in from other areas or who own properties here that don't live here, and they call us, reach out, and we show it to them, and it absolutely blows their mind. I looked at what companies did outside of real estate and said, how can we duplicate what they do, where it's an actual business, an actual process, it's written, it's repeatable, and you can measure those things so we can make small adjustments to those knobs along the way, and it allows us to get further faster. It's just like a marathon. I say this all the time, but it's a very, very good analogy. As you have everyone takes off at a marathon, you have the shotgun start, everyone starts running. It looks really cool, but what you don't think about is all of a sudden everyone starts spreading out very quickly. And at the end of the marathon, some people finish 2 and 3 hours ahead of time versus some of the others at the back end. It's the same thing with your home sale. We're able to find a way to sprint all the way through the marathon to get you to where you need to be in the fastest time for the most amount of money. And so that's true for the seller side. On the buyer side, it's the same exact problem. You have agents who sell 3 to 4 homes a year trying to help you negotiate and buy your largest asset. Meanwhile, they're just worried about how to pay their rent next month. And so they throw you under the bus in 2 seconds. And that's why the agent you choose matters. So we developed this system called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Gives you priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as home inspection to get you to that closing table successfully. And that's why the agent you choose matters. And if you find out most agents don't even have a process or a system, they're just winging it, putting it out there and hoping that someone else brings a buyer or that you picked out the home that you want and they'll just represent you and get their fee. And so here we have this level of excellence that we're passionate about. We tell our clients what they need to hear, not just what you want to hear, because we believe in having open and honest conversations that can get you that closing table successfully. And so if you want to know more how that works, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com anytime. Okay, quick break, right back in a second.
So if you're in the market to buy or sell a home right now, every detail means dollars, and who you hire to negotiate your home, that really matters. Hey, Sean Hannity here, and as an active investor who invests in real estate all across the great country of ours, I want the best negotiator representing my interests. I'm talking about Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. He can help you navigate through multiple cash offers
And more importantly, he has turned complicated situations into 5-star reviews. Now check out his rave reviews on Google. Talk to him yourself. If you are on trial with big money at stake, you would want a seasoned negotiator with thousands of victories if they will take you on and you can afford them, right? Well, your home deserves the best representation. Know your options. See how much demand your home can command in this market right now. The best representation that you deserve. Call Blake Sloan today at 808 sold. That's 808 sold. Or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Gordon. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options to home sellers with really takes away the stress.
Right. For sellers in a time crunch, you can agree to sell it by a certain date, take cash for a home, or even rent it.
That's great. And if the seller has a big porch on,
Use our proven marketing plan and sell it for the highest price.
work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to the Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Brand new market update. Some great information we got here for you. Just quick reminder really quick. If you ever want to go back and watch these shows again, we stream them online. YouTube, you just Google Sloan Realty Group or Blake Sloan Real Estate. We also put them out on Facebook on our Sloan Realty Group page, my personal page, Twitter, all that stuff. So you can always go back and listen to them. We also have out there on the podcast platforms as well for you to go back and listen to and recap anytime. Also, it runs on this station, WRNN 99.5 Hot Talk FM on Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock, Sundays at 11:30. And so always come back in and share with friends, things like that. So really quick market update. It's actually on fire for new properties going under contract, which is what's happening in real time. That's more like the real time pulse. Okay. And we talk about these two numbers all the time. Been doing this since COVID started. The new pending deals. We watch that number every day. That's one of the main metrics my team track, just so we can say, hey, what's happening in real time? How can we keep up? How do we need to keep a pulse on how fast things are going so we can obviously advise our clients the right way based on price strategy, the way you make offers, things like that. So last week's show, we saw 487 go under contract, which is a 34% increase over the previous week for right around 169 million. This week, 480 properties under contract for 175 million. So about 6 million more, almost 7 million more, $175,913.46. So great news. Anything close to 150 or above is a great number we talk about. If you go back just a couple of weeks, 12/30. So obviously December 30th on our show there, 206 properties under contract for 160 million. So we've seen $100 million jump since the last week of the year. And part of that had to do with different things. Obviously, the holidays are a little bit slow. The rates were high then. We've seen rates come back down. We've seen really a lot of the buyers who were kind of just sitting there waiting through the holidays have jumped back in. It's been much busier than anybody thought it was going to be. And so it's great news overall as well. Inventory is also doing great. Inventory is still continuing to climb, which is great news for buyers out there. Last week's show, we had 883 properties active. This week right now, 890 properties active, which is great news overall. If you look back to the 12/30 show, December 30th, 879. So we're still seeing that climb, which is great news. Also, we're seeing a lot of the higher end properties move. 9 properties over $1 million under contract. Saw a $4 million property in Pawleys Island go under contract this week. It was a historic home on both the ocean and the inlet, which is great news. 69 properties over 500,000 under contracts. We're still seeing some big money move down here and come in from all over the place. And we're seeing the same exact thing ourselves. Like I mentioned, our team's been absolutely crushing it, working like crazy, hustling like crazy. And we've been building up that momentum really through last month. And so that's great news for home sellers out there. And even for home buyers right now, seeing rates come back down and also seeing that there's opportunity in terms of new inventory. So looking at really recap for last month's numbers for anyone that missed last week's show. Single family resale homes sales were down 47% last month. So significant in terms of decline in properties that were sold and closed versus the same month last year, which is very important to kind of look at overall in that scenario, which is great news there. Sales price, overall sales price, median price up 15.6%. That's been kind of the crazy thing here. We've seen it raise 3 months in a row. When ideally you're seeing close to a 50% drop in sales, you're still seeing price rise, which is great news. Last month, the median price, $370,000, up 15.6% from the same time last year. But I like to look at month versus month. And so month versus month, if you go back to September, 345, October, 360, November, 361, and then December, 370. So 4 months in a row, we've seen prices increase as sales have been going down. And so that, again, is also going to be an inventory thing. We'll talk about that in a second. Into average sale price up 13% versus the same time last year. And month versus month, it's up. It's up from 444 in December up to 450, obviously, in December, which is great news there. It's not quite to the peak that it was in April at 488, 186, but you are seeing median price continue to climb in a very steady rate here, which is good. And so you're not seeing that crash. And that's one thing we'll talk about if you have time today on what makes this market so much different. We've seen a lot of buyers. I'm waiting to the crash. There's so many metrics out there just showing us a lot different. The main thing is there's just a massive housing shortage still. Even though you've seen it slow down a little bit, there's still a massive shortage. We talked about some previous shows, a 5 million unit home shortage still from after the 2008 crisis when building just did not keep up with population growth. And that's what you're seeing across the nation. So months of supply actually went down month versus month. So, for example, in November, it's 2.6 months inventory. Right now, we're at 2.4 months inventory. Remember, though, a really median market, or the line between a buyer's market and seller's market, 6 months inventory. Right now, we're at 2.4. So we're still in almost a super seller's market, meaning they have the advantage here. The last time you saw this same level of inventory was between November and December of 2020. And if you go back, though, just to April 2020, it was 4.7 months inventory. Right now, we're at 2.4. And so that low amount of inventory is what's protecting price and insulating price, because the buyers that are out there, just not a huge selection. So it's great news for you as a home seller, because even though sales are down right at 50%, price is still climbing up, and you still can get this price that you want, especially as rates come back down. We're seeing a lot more buyers come back into the market, which is great news overall. Into condo sales last month, very similar to houses. Looking at numbers there, down 48.3% last month. You've seen that really decline every single month since March of this year, right when we saw interest rates starting to climb, especially for second homes and investment properties. Median price up 18.8% from the same time last year, but it is down from the previous month. So November is 235, December 225. It did peak out last year for condos in May 2022 at 240,000, and that's really been bumping around the last few months, right between the 230s, 240s. And some average sale price up 19% from the same time last year, and it is down from November at 259. In November, it was 266, and so it's still bouncing around the last 3 months, really within that same range. And so it's healthy in terms of price staying there. Also, inventory is still fairly low. It is a little bit more than homes. Inventory for condos is up 228%, but you got to look at it. It's only 2.3 months inventory, so it's still very low. We were seeing record lows back in January and February of last year. There's only 0.6 months inventory, which is really unhealthy. It's just a super seller's market. Everyone really got pushed out of homes early last year because prices are so high. Then everyone moved directly into condos, and because they were just that much more affordable. And so that's something to look at as well. And it's good news for sellers out there on both ends, but also we're seeing some flexibility as inventory has increased. So we're not at such a deadlock. We did have a big challenge where people wouldn't sell because they couldn't find anything to buy. Now you're seeing that gridlock kind of unlock a little bit, because now they can find something else. There's a little bit more selection out there as inventory is getting where it's more normalized, which is great news. Now, here's the other thing that's really been hot lately, interest rates. We were seeing interest rates in the sevens, right? And we were seeing a rate just not that long ago, 7.37% is a 12-month high. Right now, we're at 6.11%, which is great news. Last week's show was 6.07%. We were seeing things smoking this year. Last week, we just saw it hit a low of 6.04%. So we almost got below that 6%, where I think you'll see it really start taking off. But the great news is everything else is in the fives. A 15-year fixed rate right now, 5.15%. A 30-year jumbo loan, 5.66%. A 5-year adjust rate mortgage right now, 5.96%. A 30-year FHA, 5.7%. And a 30-year VA, 5.75%. So great opportunity for you as a buyer. You can get in. We also have a partnership with a lender who's really working with our clients. If they're worried about interest rates, it helps both our buyers and our sellers. We've been getting really creative. Like, how do we dominate and really adjust in this changing market? We partner with our lender who is able to give our clients a gift certificate, $2,500 to help cover any refinance costs. So when the rates do go back down later this year, they can get in now without the frenzy. You're not getting bid, $30,000, $40,000 of asking price. You can come in and refinance when rates go down, use that certificate, and you don't have any money out of pocket at closing, which is great news. And so that's something that's really good. And also, really quick, just while I'm on it, I think is something that's important. We're seeing one of the big challenges we've seen is people who are self-employed who have 1099s have had a lot of difficulty getting mortgages, because what happens is, as a business owner or self-employed, you tend to write things off. And if you write things off, that obviously affects your net income, which would make you qualify for less money. And so it's always that catch 22. Do I write the expenses off and not afford as much? Or do I write the expenses off and obviously pay less taxes? And now I'm stuck where I can't afford for it just as much. So there's a new program now for self-employed people, up to 90% loan to value, credit scores from 660 and above, which is great. No tax returns required. All you need is the last 2 years of your 1099s and year-to-date earnings or year-to-date bank statements, which is awesome. You can do purchase or also cash out, which is great news there. You can be self-employed long as your last 2 years, owner occupants, and also for second homes and investment properties. So that's great news overall out there. We've been getting really flexible with that. And it's just really flexible. It's something that's really good in terms of that. You get loans up to $3 million, which is great news. Like I mentioned, up to 80% financing. So you're putting 20% down on second homes and investment properties, even you're self-employed. Now, here's the other one that's really powerful right now: investor cash flow loans. It's really based on the cash flow of the property, up to 80% loan to value, credit score 680 and above, which is good. The qualifications based on the property cash flow, which is really good. No personal income, no employment needed, 30-year fixed rate, loans up to $1.5 million, which is great news. And here's the crazy part: there's no limit on the total amount of property. So if you're an investor and you're looking to add your portfolio, we have a really cool tool for you to help do that, where you can still own 12, 15, 16 properties and more, and be able to help get that overall. You can also deed that into your LLC, which is great news there. And so if you want to know more how that works, we have a great partnership with an amazing company, Neighborhood Loans here, that we give to our clients. And so if you want to know more how that works, reach out, call me. We're here to help give our clients the absolute best competitive advantage. Take a quick break, right back in a second.
WRNN listeners, Blake Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing to get the highest sales price possible for a home.
Totally true, Clay. And here in Myrtle Beach, that agent is our
5
friend
minutes
Blake
left.
Sloan of
Cool,
Sloan
thanks.
Realty.
At least more than that, right? Because I'm at 127. I think it stopped at 134, right? So
I don't know, I'm 22 and a half minutes over, 23 and a half minutes when I go.
Okay. Okay. All right. So about 5 or 6. We may not do the last one.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 5-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing. That's Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's show Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Hot Buyers Alert. My team and I are working with ridiculous amount of home buyers all along the Myrtle Beach, Grand Strand area, from $250,000 to $4.4 million. If you're thinking about selling, reach out to us. Immediately call us 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. We have tremendous amount of buyers. This is something we've been doing for a long time. It's put my money where my mouth is, and we really just been doing this for a while. Just kind of say, look, let's just be real. And this is one thing we show our clients when we sit down with them face to face and say, look, here's how many buyers we have real time searching on our site. You can watch them actually search, and we're able to prove that that's what the big difference is I'm spending tens and tens of thousands of dollars before you ever pick up the phone to call us to bring buyers in. That, guess what? That's what we're able to do, is match up our buyers with your sellers. We even have a technology we help develop that reverse engineers the most likely buyer for your property based on previous search patterns. So it's almost like when you're thinking something or talk about something online, and all of a sudden it shows up in your Facebook feed. Very similar there, right? And so with us, our active count of actual buyers on our website right now, this very second, 70,815 active home buyers, 70,815 active home buyers from all over the globe. Right now, I have Donna from Myrtle Beach. I got Twilda from Old Town, Maine. I got Lindsay from Beverly Hills, California. I got Sean and Jessica from Hilton Head, South Carolina. I got Sharon from Wayne, PA. I got Sergey from Johnsonville, South Carolina. Sam from Chappaqua, New York. I got Kenny from Myrtle Beach. We got Terry from Miami, Florida. I mean, all over the place. Greenville, North Carolina. Deer Park, New York. Brooklyn, New York. New York. Montrose, PA. Somerdale, New Jersey. And so all these people you're seeing come in, a lot of which are from the Northeast, because just a long time ago, I got in the business early on, almost 20 years ago. And I said, man, all these people that have a lot of money that see value in what we have here tend to be from the Northeast. And I noticed that their average sale price was much higher than ours. So I was like, hey, how can we target these people online? I learned about pay-per-click advertising, and we can track based on IP address and serve ads to those people. And so I started doing that years and years and years ago, back when even my broker at the time didn't have a laptop, and they were making fun of me, calling me the internet kid, but it allowed us to get dialed in terms of who's buying down here and who has the money. And that's how we're able to help our sellers, because we're targeting the buyers from all over and really the areas that people are moving to, which allows us to have them in what we call buyers in waiting. So you're not just sitting there putting your house in the market, letting it sit there and grow vines on the for sale sign because it's waiting for a buyer to drive by and see it, or your agent who just got in the business that took some cell phone photos, puts it online, and hopes someone comes to MLS. And so if you're thinking about selling, do me a favor. So look, you got to call my buddy Blake, or anybody you come across, friend, relative, aunt, uncle. If you like them, if you don't like them, whatever it is, save me your phone and say, look, you got to call my buddy Blake, and just save me as Blake Sloan sold if you want, whatever it is. That way you can remember that you give my number, and we're hustling all the time. It doesn't matter if it's this weekend. Any day you call us, we'll make sure we get it handled overall. Really quick, a couple quick success stories. Our team's been absolutely crushing it. Big shout out to Marilyn and James. They owned a house on Little River. Recently decided it's time for them to downsize and only a 2-story, 4-bedroom home for just 2 of them. Marilyn and James, though, were concerned about having a ton of random people constantly walking through their house. We met with them, share with them how we can get their house sold for top dollar, but we also have a 3D virtual reality walkthrough technology that allows buyers to virtually walk through their home, as well as qualified buyers before bringing them into their home. So only the very serious buyers were coming in. We showed them exactly how it worked. They loved it. We designed a custom plan, launched a global marketing blitz, professional photos, virtual reality walkthrough. Within a couple weeks, had dozens of virtual walkthroughs. One of those obviously came in, got a great offer on the property. Now Marilyn and James are able to sell their property without the hassle of a bunch of people walking through, and they got top dollar as well. So big shout out to them. Also, Carl and Kim owned a house in Myrtle Beach. Recently decided it was time that they want to stay in the area, but wanted a property with more land. They had purchased a home, though, in Myrtle Beach within the last year. So the major concern was how do they get most of the money back out of it? And they wanted pretty much all of it back out of it and get every dollar. So we obviously helped get with them. Carl went online and actually came across our 765 5-star reviews, was blown away, reached out to us, sat down with us, knew it was actually the best fit. We showed them exactly how we get it done. Long story short, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, virtual reality walkthrough. Got an offer right at almost full asking price within just a couple days, and also helped them find the property with a larger land and do the delicate dance, I call it. We help them be able to buy and sell at the same exact time, which becomes very, very difficult because of closing dates and getting everybody into it. And you got to make sure that people buying yours are actually qualified so that you don't get to the closing table and the people buying yours back out. And so we're able to do that and get them both to that closing table successfully of putting maximum dollar in their pocket. And so if you want to know more that works, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com anytime. Also, really quick, one thing I've heard, got about 2 minutes left, is we had a crazy story this week that someone who reached out to us through a third-party site. They didn't really seek us out, but we advertised through all kinds of different sites, and those were we buy houses, and they had inherited a property from their parents, and we're sure we can help that. Well, it turns out they didn't do anything with it for so long. We got it found that they had just been foreclosed on by the HOA, and so they had an oceanfront condo worth $300,000+ and got foreclosed on just because they didn't pay the HOA and just didn't deal with it. And here's the deal. I know a lot of times those are very difficult situations, and we specialize in that and also divorce situations. Been doing this a very, very long time. Very, very good at understanding how difficult this can be sometimes, but we're very, very good with any estate type sales. And here's the thing. That person could have put hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in their pocket and honor their parents in the absolute best way by doing so versus just not dealing with it and doing so. If you want to get help and you're in a tough situation, just not really sure where to turn, here's the deal. Reach out to us anytime. My team's here to serve you, and we're not here to sell you something. We do lots and lots of properties, almost 800 properties a year. Really every few hours we sell a property. And so we're going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And a lot of times if it's something like that, though, we do it with care and love and empathy. And so all we can do is guide. In some cases we say we don't sell. But most of the time we say, here's the best strategy. Here's how you get more money, or here's how you sell it faster. And we find the delicate dance between both selling it faster and getting the most money. So if you want to know more about that, if you have somebody that's in a difficult situation, have them reach out to us. We've been doing this a long time. You can read our reviews online on Google. People love what we do, and we love what we do. And so reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com anytime we see you back here next week.